Welcome to Leatherneck Insider. I'm Joe Music.
And I'm Trevor Davis. Earlier this week, Avery Thompson sat down with WIU starting pitcher Brett Sears to discuss his performance against Louisville. Here's what he had to say.
I just have a couple of questions for you about your first game in Louisville. So you pitched in the first game of the year against Louisville, who are ranked in the top 10 in the nation. How did you prepare for the game knowing that they are one of the best teams?
We kind of just took the same approach as we always do. We know baseball, any given day, anyone can win. So we just tried to play our game, tried to make as little mistakes as possible, and we just played well and came out on top.
Since this was your first game after a year of not playing, was there pressure to do well against a team like Louisville, and how did that affect your game?
It was definitely weird after not playing for a long time. We were supposed to have a series the week before, which would have been nice maybe to ease into the season a little more, but we kind of got that series got canceled, so we got thrown right into playing one of the top teams in the country. And honestly, I would say maybe it's almost a little less pressure because, we're kind of the underdogs and, people don't expect us to go there and shock them. But so maybe a little less pressure, but exciting nonetheless.
Okay, so after tossing 4 scoreless innings, what pitch do you think worked best against the batters you faced, and how has the relationship with your catcher affected your pitches?
Good. I'd say that day my fastball was my best pitch. I really wasn't throwing much else very effectively, but just being able to go in and out with the fastball up and down, kind of putting the fastball where you want, worked well for us. And me and my catcher are actually roommates, so we've got a pretty good relationship and kind of know what we want to do with pitches and how we want to attack each batter.
Last question for you. What was it like for you to record a win against Louisville?
It was super exciting. Just something that I'll always be able to say I did. They were 4th or 5th in the country, which is crazy to think. And, there'll be a team that at the end of the year will be playing for maybe trying to get into the College World Series. So it's kind of crazy to say that, we beat them and that I was on the mound when we beat them.
All right, well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you again for answering my questions.
The men's baseball team will face off against North Dakota State on Friday in their first home series in almost 2 years. In other news, Western Illinois runner Akeem Collie earned All-American honors for the 2nd time in his career. Reporter Will Thomas sat down with him to discuss the difficulties he faced this season.
Transferring is never easy for anyone, but Western Illinois track and field mid-distance runner Akeem Collie has made the most of his situation. After spending the last 3 years at Big 12 school Oklahoma, he made the transition to Western Illinois, and he said everything went good and smoothly.
It has been a good transition. I had a personal dream I was chasing of becoming a nurse, getting my nursing degree, and it's been good with my coach working one-on-one with me about my practice schedule, and my class schedule. So it's pretty good. I really enjoy being here.
Even though the transition was smooth to a new school, the NCAA did not grant his transfer waiver until after the first indoor meet of the season, making Akeem have to stay calm and patient throughout the whole process.
Wait until my waiver got approved by NCAA, which it does, and it was a tough fall for me. I was keeping my fingers crossed, hoping to compete this year. It's been it was tough, but he helped me to stay motivated, to keep training the night.
Collie's senior season was one for the record books as he finished the indoor season as an All-American, finishing 6th in the 800-meter run at the NCAA Indoor National Championships. Reporting for Leatherneck Insider, this is Will Thomas.
Thanks, Will. The Western Illinois football team took on North Dakota this Saturday in their 3rd game of the season. Kylie Rogers sat down with head coach Jared Elliott to recap the game.
I'm here at Hanson Field where the Leathernecks dropped their 3rd straight game this season. Mental miscues and 3rd down have been a huge issue. Here's what Coach Elliott had to say after the game.
I think the name of the game today for us on both sides of the ball, and it's 3rd down. And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now, guys, but I know that there were way too many 3rd and long situations, and we've got to execute better and put our kids in some better positions. But there's no excuse for that. We third and long is a dream, that you want to get into on defense. We have plenty of opportunities to stop drives and get them off the field, and we didn't. And we have plenty of opportunities on offense to stay on the field, and we're not. And so we've got to be much better in the critical downs of the game, that's for sure.
The Leathernecks are 11 for 40 this season on converting third down. Leathernecks hope to clean this up with 5 games left this season. At Hanson Field, reporting for Leatherneck Insider, I'm Kylie Rogers.
Thank you, Kylie. Coming up on Leatherneck Insider, Brendan Reedy sits down with Western Illinois football coach Jared Elliott. Stay tuned.
Western Illinois University. Our beginnings in 1902 focused on providing affordable teacher education training. We've changed with the times and excelled through the years. Today, Western is positioned for the next 100 years and beyond. Affordability of diverse academic programs, outstanding learning opportunities, and hands-on experiences provide excellent job placement for our graduates. This is Western, forever Western.
Your vision.
When I arrived at Western, I discovered the fields of recreation, park, and tourism administration.
Our mission.
My professors challenged me to develop new ideas and helped me grow as a student and a person.
This is Western Illinois University.
I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Welcome back to Leatherneck Insider. Now we go to Brendan Reedy, who sits down with Jared Elliott for the Coach's Show.
All right, Coach, I was not the outcome you wanted in week 3 against North Dakota. How do you build off this game?
I think there's definitely some positives you can walk away with, Brendan. Our football team understands there's no moral victories. We still have a lot that we need to correct and clean up, and I'm very excited going into this week. It's another opportunity to see growth out of our football team and to see our guys take what we're emphasizing and the things that we need to learn to get a different outcome and to have success and to win. I'm excited for our guys to implement that in a game situation on Saturday. So we have a great challenge on our hands. We're playing a very good football team, but I know our guys are going to be very motivated and looking forward to going and cut it loose this Saturday.
You talked a lot about the positives from last week. What unit specifically stuck out to you most against UND?
Well, I think that there were positives on really in every unit. I think our special teams played really well. We won the field position battle. We were able to create a major takeaway. Offensively, I felt like we did some things that other people haven't been able to do against North Dakota in terms of protecting our quarterback and eliminating negative plays, which is what their defense thrives on. I think our defense did as good of a job, Brendan, against anybody early downs on first and second down. Where we struggled was on third down. And so, there's positives in every unit. We've got to play a complete game. We've got to play complementary football, and we've got to do a better job finishing drives on both sides of the ball. We got to do a better job on third down on both sides of the ball. And so we know that, and our guys, our kids understand that. And again, that's why we're excited. It's another opportunity to go implement these things that we've emphasized and that we need to improve on to get a different outcome.
And the schedule doesn't get any easier. On the road, face Illinois State, one of the top teams in the last few years in the Valley. How do you plan on stopping one of the best all-around teams?
Illinois State is, again, a traditional powerhouse. We're playing a football team that, in my opinion, could easily be 2-1, if not 3-0. That they've lost 3 games by a score. You look at their defense, Brendan. They're ranked number 1, if not number 2, in every defensive statistic in our conference, also nationally. And they're always very good and physical on defense and sound and offensively. I felt like they kind of were able to generate some things that they've been wanting to do. This is a football team that's going to take pride in running the football, and they do it very well. And they started to do that against a good North Dakota State team last week. So again, great challenge. We're playing a very good football team. The formula to having success never changes. We got to play the game the right way, and we've got to eliminate mistakes, and we've got to take advantage and capitalize on the opportunities when we get them. to make the plays that we need to, and just overall execution is going to be important.
And obviously not the outcome you wanted in the first few games. What goes into you and your coaching staff's meeting when you determine, if any, personnel changes?
You're always looking at those things. Regardless of outcome, you're always analyzing, hey, what makes our football team the best? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Are there different packages, personnels, whatever it might be? Are we doing things that tailor to what our players can handle? And so you're always looking at those things. We've obviously looked at those things again this week to try to put out our the best football team that we can every week, and to give ourselves the best chance to compete and win.
And Coach, what player specifically do you see having a big game against the Redbirds this week?
Well, I'm anticipating several guys. I really am. It's going to take a lot more than just one or two players. The biggest thing is, we've got to play selfless football, Brendan. We've got to play, do your job football and do it very well. And we need to execute. And execution is all based on 11 guys doing it together. And that's where we need more consistency of, And so, again, I'm anticipating a lot of guys, playing very well. And but I'm not so much worried about individual players. I'm worried about, us as a team and us as a whole defense, us as a whole offense, a whole special teams unit. That's what we need to be able to, to go get this job done on Saturday.
It is a team sport. And after the first few weeks, there have been plenty of surprises all around the league. Which team has surprised you the most, and how do you plan on joining that list?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any surprises. Again, Brendan, I know you and I have talked a lot over the years about, we know how good this conference is from top to bottom, and we know that the difference and just how razor blade thin it is, and the difference between winning and losing games. And so, there's teams like North Dakota that are playing tremendous football right now, and teams like Southern Illinois, but again, it's not really a surprise. There's a lot of talent on these teams. They're well-coached teams, and every single week it's going to be a battle to you got to go earn a win. It's sure as heck not going to be given to you in this conference.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you, Brendan. Coming up, Nick Grunwald discusses the return of Macomb High football. Stay tuned.
Your vision.
As an economics major studying investment banking, I find the world of finance intriguing.
Our mission.
My professors are excellent, and they're preparing me for success in the business industry.
This is Western Illinois University.
I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Your vision.
My goal is to work at a top 100 television station as a reporter, anchor, and a producer.
Our mission.
Thanks to Western, I have a resume that would beat out most students from the top journalism schools in the country.
This is Western Illinois University.
I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Macomb High football is set to have their first game of the season this Friday. Reporter Nick Grunwald has more on their attitudes going into this unusual season.
Season getting pushed back to the spring, the Macomb Bombers are finally getting their football season. We spoke with senior lineman Aaron Munir on how COVID has impacted their season.
We know we're not promised the next day, so we use it as motivation each practice to keep getting better and think of it as our last.
We also spoke with varsity head coach Tony Weston about what they're most looking forward to this season.
Week one. I'm looking forward to getting back into competition and hearing the whistles and hearing the pops and getting going. I am looking forward to seeing these kids develop. We were really worried there for a little while that we weren't going to get to see the culmination of these seniors' careers. We are now. I'm really looking forward to seeing their development and sort of ending that story. But, we're excited about week one.
The Bombers look to take this motivation into their 2021 season. From Leatherneck Insider, I'm Nick Groom.
Thanks, Nick. The Bombers will take on Bushnell this Friday for their first game in over a year. Leatherneck Insider reporter Azalea Pinata had a chance to talk with the Director of Campus Recreation, Nick Knowles, about the Rec Center's mask policy.
Exercising has been different during the pandemic. Western Illinois University Recreation Center is one of the gyms in the country that has to adapt to operating in the time of COVID-19. Been reopening gradually since August last year, the REC is implementing health regulations according to state and university guidelines. The facility routinely disinfects workout areas and provides wipers. There are virtual classes instead of studio classes, cardio equipments are spread out 6 feet apart to maintain social distancing, and the mandatory use of masks in the weight rooms, which draws criticisms from visitors, even causing loss of memberships.
Personally, I'd prefer if we worked out without masks. I'm glad that we don't have to run with masks because it's very hard to do cardio while your breathing is restricted.
Times I feel like I like to take off the mask and throw it away just to get that proper breath, and without a proper breath you might get a fatigue of your muscles and cramps, and that's okay because the situations are like that outside, like the pandemic and all.
As a rec center, we've been probably more strict than most rec centers in the area. I know that for a fact because we've lost members. Members have quit because they said we were too strict. And, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Well, right now, I don't see us changing course for a while. The way the rec center looks right now, I could see that being at least through the summer.
According to the director of sports medicine for WIU football, Chad Cerullo, the purpose of wearing a mask is to prevent the spread of respiratory droplets into the air or onto surfaces that are potentially affecting other people. We see a lot of asymptomatic cases of COVID, especially in the college-age population. One person could potentially affect a whole room of people.
It is uncomfortable exercising. I've exercised in a mask myself. Again, it's uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. There's some myths out there that say wearing a mask during exercise is going to increase your carbon monoxide level in your body, and that's just not true. That's false. The carbon monoxide molecules are small enough that they would pass through a mask.
Cerullo added that if you're having trouble breathing and shortness of breath, chest tightness, or any lightheadedness, you should take a break. Step aside, separate yourself from the group, maintain social distancing, take off your mask, catch your breath, stay hydrated, and go back to exercise once you feel good enough. Cerullo also advised not to wear surgical masks for workouts because those cotton masks could collect a lot of sweat and water, which make it harder to breathe. Any cloth mask and mask made by sports apparel companies are recommended.
I like to use, I bought these loose-fitting it's mesh. It's a mesh, and it stays on very easy because it's got hoops to go over my ears, and it's very breathable. And this is my cardio mask.
Whatever your preference, make sure to always be responsible by wearing a mask for the time being. Reporting for Leatherneck Insider, I am Azalea Pinata.
Azalea. Coming up next, Will Thomas and Dane McElwee will discuss this year's March Madness bracket.
Taking me home, taking me home.
Here, I engineer the future.
Taking me home, bring me back.
Here, I have countless opportunities.
Taking me home, bring me back.
Here, I do research.
Right here at Western.
Your vision.
I plan on working for an agricultural company and eventually running my family's farm.
Our mission.
My professors are invested in my success. Western helped me find an excellent internship with a leading agricultural company.
This is Western Illinois University.
I am a success story. I am a Leatherneck.
Welcome back. Leatherneck Insider reporters Will Thomas and Dane McAwee break down this year's NCAA bracket and provide inside information to help you get an edge in your bracket pools.
Hello everyone, welcome to Inside the Bracket. I'm Will Thomas. Alongside me is my partner Dane McAwee, and we'll be going through his bracket, showing you all the potential upsets and correct picks to get that inside edge on those office pools, family bragging rights, and of course that perfect bracket. Dane, let's start in the West region. Gonzaga headlines that region, getting the overall #1 seed. But I want to ask you, who do you see there as a favorite to pull up the upsets in the first round?
Well, Will, there's actually a couple teams I think will be able to pull off an upset. First team that I see is UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara has won 18 of their last 19 games. The backcourt for UC Santa Barbara can cause Creighton problems as they push the tempo a little bit. They've been very efficient. Creighton is coming off a very bad loss in the Big East Championship when they were beaten by Georgetown. I believe that UCSB will be able to come out with a victory and make it to the round of 32. The second team that I see going to make a run is Ohio. Ohio is the winners of the MAC Conference and finished the season winning 9 of their last 10 games. Guard Jason Preston has been outstanding this season as he's averaging a near triple-double. Their opponent, Virginia, had their ACC tournament game canceled due to COVID-19 outbreak after the Syracuse game. I think Ohio will keep playing hot and will keep it going and advance to the round of 32 and will face off against UCSB.
Yeah, so now we look ahead to that Sweet 16. You have Gonzaga versus Ohio, with Gonzaga going to the Elite Eight. The matchup I want to focus on is Kansas versus Iowa. Why do you have Kansas moving on, even though they're dealing with some COVID issues right now?
By the time that the Sweet 16 will come around, Kansas should have a full roster. With a full roster, I think Kansas is a much better team. They finished off the season with some remarkable wins over Baylor, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma. At full strength, I think the Jayhawks advance.
Now you have Kansas, Gonzaga, Elite Eight. Who goes and represents the West in the Final Four?
I believe that Gonzaga will advance and represent the West in the Final Four.
Okay, so we head to the South region now, where the big shocker was you have the number 6 seed Texas Tech making a run all the way to the Sweet 16. What has to happen for them to be able to do that?
So for Texas Tech to make it to the Sweet 16, they have to have exceptional play from Mac McClung. McClung has played well all year. He's their leading scorer, transfer from Georgetown. He's just played well. Another thing that they have to do is close out games. Texas Tech, in their 10 losses, 6 of them have come from 5 points or less. They've struggled to finish off games late in the season.
Now you have Baylor, Ohio State in that Elite Eight matchup. Who's going to represent the South in the Final Four?
I think Baylor will represent the South.
Yeah, Baylor coming off a very impressive season. Now we head to the Midwest region, and we're going to jump straight into those Sweet 16 matchups with the possibility of having an Illinois-Oklahoma State matchup with two of the top guards in college basketball, Io DeSumo and Kate Cunningham, AP players of the first team players of the year. What does Io and Illinois have to do to slow down the Cowboys and move on?
As you just said, this is going to be an amazing matchup. Everyone who loves college basketball would love for this to happen. So for Illinois to advance to the Elite Eight, they have to slow down the backcourt of not just Cade Cunningham, but Avery Anderson. Anderson has played super well all year. Majority of the Cowboys' offense actually goes through these two. If they can contain them, I see the Illini making it to the Elite Eight.
Illini, West Virginia, Elite Eight. Who's coming out of that one to go to Lucas Oil?
I think Illinois will represent in the Final Four for the first time since 2005.
Now we look at that East region, Michigan. You have them going all the way to the Elite Eight. They are without one of their best players in Isaiah Livers. What does Michigan have to do? And if Livers is out, does that hurt their chances of getting to the Elite Eight?
So I believe that Michigan is still going to make it to the Elite Eight without Livers. Livers is a very good player, great Big Ten player. But they're a deep team. Hunter Dickinson's played well. Franz Wagner, he is the key for this team. If he steps up, I believe that they can keep making it.
Now you have Texas, Michigan in that Elite Eight matchup. Who's coming out of that region?
I think Texas will come out and claim the final spot for the Final Four.
Yeah, Texas coming off that Big 12 conference tournament victory, playing really tough right now. Okay, so now we're to the Final Four. We're finally there. Final Four matchup, first one, Gonzaga versus Texas. Who's going to the national championship?
Gonzaga. Gonzaga will win this matchup because they're just talented 1 through 5. They have 3 All-Americans. Longhorns will not be able to contain them. It'll be just too much. The Zags will make it to the championship.
2 #1 seeds square off in the other Final Four matchup. I'm going to ask you the same question. Between Baylor and Illinois, who wins and why?
So Baylor was able to get the best of Illinois in their meeting earlier this year. Illinois is just a much different team right now. Ayo Dosunmu and Kofi Cockburn, they're playing very well right now. I think they will beat Baylor this time and make it to the national championship.
Yeah, we're going to talk national championship now. It's
been 2 years since the last national championship, and it's probably the most anticipated one now. You have Illinois and Gonzaga. Most of the nation probably will have these two. Who wins and who's going to cut down the nets at the end of the day?
As you said, this is going to be a very exciting national championship. Both teams love to score the ball. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. I think Gonzaga is going to come out with the win, 91-86. I think Gonzaga will cut down the nets for the first time.
Well, guys, Dane has Gonzaga completing the undefeated season and winning it all. We'll have to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. That's all the time we have today. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram, and be sure to like us on Facebook. Leatherneck Insider will be back in 2 weeks. Until then, I'm Trevor Davis.
And I'm Joe Music. Stay classy, McDonough County.